Hello, my friends. There's a moment every man ignores, the moment she decides whether you're unforgettable or just another face she'll forget before she sleeps tonight. And the truth is this, most men ruin that moment without even realizing it. They try too hard, or they say nothing at all, or they throw out generic compliments that make her feel nothing. But when a woman hears a compliment that pierces her psychology in the right way, she doesn't just smile. She remembers you. She replays your voice in her mind. She wonders what makes you different. I'm saying this as a female psychologist who has spent years listening to women confess the things they never tell men. The compliments that hit them the deepest are not the ones you've been taught. They aren't sexual, they aren't basic, they aren't the typical "you look cute" or "you're pretty" lines that men recycle. A woman's mind filters those out instantly, because she's heard them from every man who ever wanted something from her. But when a man says the right thing, in the right tone, at the right emotional level, something inside her locks onto you. She begins to associate you with a different kind of energy, one that most men never access. And if you've ever wondered why some guys barely try but stay in her head all day, this is the reason. They speak to the part of her psychology that isn't visible on the surface. Now, before I give you the first compliment, I need you to understand something. Women don't respond to the words themselves. They respond to the emotion your words awaken. Every woman, no matter how confident she looks, is carrying quiet insecurities, fears about whether she's enough, whether she's seen, whether she's valued for more than her appearance. When your words touch those deeper layers, you stand out without forcing anything. Men often think attraction starts with looks or status. Those things help, but they're not what make a woman think about you all day. What does is emotional impact, psychological presence, the ability to make her feel something she doesn't feel with other men. And here's the truth most men never hear. Women don't crave empty validation. They crave recognition. They crave being understood. They crave moments when a man sees the parts of them that the world overlooks. That is why the first compliment I'm about to give you hits harder than anything you've probably ever said to a woman. It bypasses superficial attraction and moves straight into her emotional core. It tells her that you notice something she doesn't show the whole world, and that alone makes you dangerous in the best way. Here's the first compliment, the one women admit they feel in their chest, not their ears. I love the way you think. This line is powerful because it targets the part of a woman almost nobody acknowledges. Men compliment her body, her smile, her hair, but her mind, her inner world, her thought process, almost never. When you say this, you're telling her you notice who she is beneath the surface. You're telling her she's more than a pretty face, that her intelligence, her perspective, her way of analyzing life has value. A woman instantly feels different around a man who sees her mind, because deep down she's terrified that men only want the outer version of her. She fears being replaceable. She fears being judged only on looks. And when you highlight her mind, that fear softens. She lets you into a deeper space. But the second compliment, this one is on another level. If you say it at the right moment, she will remember your voice long after you walk away. The compliment is, you make the people around you feel better. Most women don't get recognized for their emotional labor, the invisible work they do to keep peace, to support others, to bring warmth into a room, to lighten someone's stress, to comfort, to soothe, to encourage. They're often the emotional backbone in their friend circles, their families, their relationships, yet almost no one acknowledges it. When you tell a woman that she has a positive impact on people, you're seeing something everyone benefits from but nobody thanks her for. That's why it hits her emotionally. She doesn't hear it as flattery, she hears it as validation. And the moment she feels understood, she feels connected. But here's what makes this second compliment truly unforgettable. It reflects empathy. It shows awareness. It signals maturity. And women notice these traits instantly. When a man recognizes a woman's emotional influence, she sees him as someone who pays attention, someone who doesn't just look. He observes, someone who doesn't just want something from her. He understands her value. Now, the third compliment is the one that embeds you in her thoughts for the entire day, sometimes longer. It's subtle, it's honest, and it's impossible to fake. I feel calmer when I'm around you. This works because women are surrounded by men who bring chaos, pressure, tension, ego, noise. When you tell her she brings peace, you flip the entire dynamic. You frame her presence as soothing, grounding, stabilizing. And a woman never forgets the man who feels peace in her presence. Why? Because women rarely feel like they're someone's calm. They feel like they have to be strong, composed, put together. Hearing this gives them a sense of emotional importance most men never offer. These 3 compliments work because they touch her identity, not her vanity. They make her feel valued in ways society doesn't recognize. And that's why she'll think about you long after the conversation ends. Before we continue, tell me this. Most men think a compliment is just a sentence, but a real compliment, the kind that leaves a woman thinking about you all day, is an emotional experience. It's not just what you say, it's what your words awaken inside her. And here's what almost no one tells you. Women don't fall for men who speak the loudest. They fall for men who make them feel seen in ways they didn't expect. When you deliver these compliments with presence, timing, and sincerity, something subtle but powerful happens. She starts associating you with emotional safety. And emotional safety is one of the strongest forms of attraction a woman can feel, even stronger than physical attraction. Because physical attraction can fade, but emotional impact leaves fingerprints on her memory. But here's the part men overlook. She's testing you without even realizing it. She's watching how you say these compliments. She's analyzing your tone, your pacing, your energy. Not because she's judging you, but because she's trying to figure out whether you're genuine or just performing. A woman's intuition is sharp. If you say, "I love the way you think," but your energy feels rushed, overeager, or disconnected, she'll feel it instantly. But if you say it slowly, after she shares an idea that genuinely caught your attention, she won't just hear it, she'll absorb it. Same with telling her she makes people feel better. Don't throw it out casually. Say it when you actually witness it. Maybe she helped someone, maybe she checked on a friend, maybe she softened the mood without making a big deal out of it. When you point it out in that moment, it becomes emotional truth, not flattery. And the compliment about feeling calmer around her, this is one men underestimate the most. Women carry invisible tension every single day. Expectations, comparisons, responsibilities, emotional management, and yet they move through life acting like they're fine. When a man admits that her presence brings him ease, it gives her a sense of emotional purpose she didn't even know she needed. But here's where everything becomes psychologically powerful. When a woman feels emotionally influential around you, she starts giving you more of her real self. She shares deeper parts of her personality. She opens up in quiet ways. She becomes more expressive, and she starts thinking about you at random times during the day. Not because of what you said, but because of how you made her feel about herself. That's the secret men never learn. You don't stay in her mind by impressing her. You stay in her mind by awakening the parts of her that rarely get attention. There's one more truth you need to hear, one that most men never realize until it's too late. A woman doesn't remember the man who tries the hardest. She remembers the man who touches a part of her identity that no one else bothers to explore. And these 3 compliments work because they don't praise her surface. They speak directly to who she believes she is deep inside and who she's afraid she might not be. But here's the psychological twist. Once you start using these compliments genuinely, women will respond to you differently. Not because you're manipulating them, but because you're communicating in a language their emotional brain actually understands. Women remember emotional impact. They replay it. They analyze it. They attach meaning to it. And when something you said triggers a positive emotional shift inside her, the association forms instantly. Your presence equals her feeling valued. This is why the guys who barely try still get remembered. They accidentally tap into her deeper emotional wiring. Meanwhile, good men who mean well, stay stuck because they only speak to her outer world. They talk about looks, about plans, about surface-level things, but the moment you compliment her mind, her influence, or the emotional effect she has on you, you bypass her defenses. You speak to the version of her she hides from everyone else. Think about it. How many men tell her she's beautiful? Probably dozens. How many tell her they like her photo? Too many. But how many tell her she makes people feel lighter, or that she has a way of thinking that stands out, or that her presence brings peace? Very few. And that scarcity gives your words power. But there's something even more important. These compliments also reveal who you are, your emotional intelligence, your awareness, your maturity. And women pay attention to that more than you realize. When a man compliments a woman in a way that shows depth, she instinctively assumes he has depth, that he's stable, that he sees the world with clarity. And whether she admits it or not, that kind of energy is rare and extremely attractive. This is the real lesson. You don't win a woman by chasing her. You win her by understanding her, by speaking to her identity, not her insecurities, by making her feel seen in a way that lasts longer than a moment. Because when your words awaken something inside her, she doesn't just think about you during the conversation. She thinks about you hours later. She thinks about you before she sleeps. She thinks about you the next morning, and she wonders why. Now I'll leave you with something personal, something only you can answer. Which compliment do you think a woman would remember coming from you, and why? Tell me in the comments. And if this opened your eyes, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a man who needs this kind of truth in his life.